Welcome to another lesson. Today's learning objective is to identify and apply circle definitions and properties, including the center, radius, chord, diameter, circumference, tangent, arc, sector, and segment. So there's a few terms there. Some of the stuff you might have already come across, but even if you haven't, we'll cover this. There's not going to be any worked examples in this video. There's just going to be a very theory-based lesson. I'm just going to go over the definitions, and it shouldn't be too long. So, if you remember what a circle is, a circle is kind of defined as basically if we take a point, right, and then if we think about having a line that's an equal distance from that point, so sort of fixed distance from that point, and we kind of draw another line in such a way that that distance from the center is fixed at all times. So it comes out to something like that. That's what it comes out to. That's what we go. So that's just a poorly drawn circle. So if we have perhaps a better drawn circle, in fact, we have something like this, and then the center of the circle will, as it says from the name, will be right in the middle. The radius of the circle is if you kind of draw any line from the center of the circle to the circumference, any straight line, that's the radius. So this could be a radius, for example. This could be a radius. So it's just any straight line that you draw from the circle. That's the radius. Whereas the diameter is not only do you have to draw it from the center to the circumference, you have to kind of do it on both sides so that it's a straight line. Now this is the diameter. So I'll call that D, whereas the radius is kind of just one of these, which I'll just call R. So a diameter is basically a straight line that goes through the center and kind of gets to the circumferences. You can actually compare this to a chord. A chord is a straight line that doesn't go through the center, so it could be something like this, for example. And of course, there's the length of the radius is the same no matter what you draw, and the same with the diameter, right? It doesn't matter if you draw the diameter like this, or if you draw the diameter like that, for example, or like that, whatever, right? So the diameter will be the same, like however you draw it. Whereas a chord, you can draw a chord differently. Like this is also a chord, right? And we can see that this length of this chord is quite different from the length of that chord. Let me just clear this up. We have a few other definitions as well. So we've done center, we've done radius, we've done chord, we've done diameter, circumference. So circumference is effectively kind of the length of the circle on the outside. Basically, it's analogous to the perimeter of a square or a circle, not square, or a rectangle or a trapezium or whatever. So this is I guess, the special name we say for the perimeter of a circle. We say it's called the circumference. It's basically the length of this thing out here. We'll talk about how to calculate that in a future video. A tangent to a circle is basically we draw a straight line. So it's like a tangent to a line for a graph. We've talked about this before. It's a similar principle. You draw it in such a way so that it just touches the circle and that's it. So it's a straight line that we go and it just touches the circle at that point. For example here, and that's what we call a tangent. An arc is the arc of a circle is it's a portion of the circumference. So for example, if we were to consider the circumference from here to here, right? So this, we would call this an arc, for example, or an arc of the circle. And then if we were to consider the area within this, actually, going to the center, for example, like that. Like that, for example. So connected with, this would be a radius, for example. If we connect it with a radius, and we create this, this is what we call a segment. Oh no, sorry, it's not a segment, a sector. And a segment would be something like, just a chunk of the area anywhere. So this could be a segment, for example. Let me actually just go like that. Segment. And this is a sector. So a sector, the difference between a sector and segment, they're both some portion of the area of the circle. A sector it goes through the center, and it goes using two radiuses, or radii even, connects to the circumference, and then that's what we call the sector. Whereas a segment just can be any chunk of the circle, and you can think of this. This could be a segment. That this could be a segment, for example. So yeah, it's any straight line you draw. But whereas you couldn't really say that's a segment of the circle. It has to go to the circumference. You just draw a straight line, and then it connects to the edge, and then you can make that a segment. So yeah, and I think that's all the definitions. So that's all there was to this video. I mean, I may as well kind of just do a quick check to see maybe a few questions to see if everything's kind of clear. So I'm just going to draw something out, and you can pause the video and try to figure out what it is. So what's this thing what's this thing over here? Well, just draw it in. Yeah, that's the center. What's that? The radius. What's this now? That's diameter. Sorry, I know I'm pausing in the middle. I'm just so you can you can pause the video when I pause, for example, if you want to have a think about it. So that's diameter. This is a chord. What about this area here? That's a segment. What about this length over here? Oh, poorly drawn. Very poorly drawn. Okay, that segment there. Sorry, that part of the what's that length there? That's the arc. If we were to do this and consider this area, that would be a sector. So yeah, hopefully that all made sense, and I'll see you guys in the next video where we'll be using this terminology in order for it to kind of establish some circle theorem. So it's you don't want to be quizzed on the vocabulary on its own, but it's needed and helpful to be able to kind of talk about circles in general, which we'll be doing in the next video. So see you then.